SMS Heng Chee.
Mr. Chairman, Minister for Defence had just spoken about the need for national servicemen to train well and to train safely. Indeed, the strength of national service is contingent upon the fighting spirit of our national servicemen. Our servicemen must undergo tough and realistic military training for the SAF to be an effective fighting force capable of safeguarding Singapore's sovereignty. At the same time, a strong SAF that can defend Singapore must be built without compromising the safety of those serving. Mr. Charles Chong asked about balancing operational readiness and safety. We understand the anxiety of our soldiers and their families arising from the recent training-related incidents. MINDEF and the SAF take the trust, confidence, and expectations that Singaporeans have in our NS system seriously. The SAF's safety protocols are audited and assessed by independent professionals from outside the SAF. This is done consistently. Allow me to share two examples. The External Review Panel on SAF Safety, or ERPSS, is a standing panel commissioned to assess the SAF's safety management systems and help ensure that the SAF standards and processes are sound and aligned with industry best practices. More recently, the External Review Panels for Heat Injury Management, which is called the ERPHIM, and the External Review Panel for Combat Vehicle Safety, ERPCVS, were commissioned or convened in 2018. They assessed the safety procedures to prevent heat injuries and to ensure the operational safety of vehicles. Where shortcomings are discovered, the SAF has and will sharpen safety measures to further reduce the risks and to prevent recurrences. Just as a further point, the Army will strengthen training supervision and enhance safety equipment to improve combat vehicle safety. And these and other specific measures were shared in this House. We will implement them as soon as possible, and some have already been implemented. This demonstrates our unwavering commitment to safety. We will not only address individual incidents, but will seek to enhance training safety at every level of responsibility. SPS Faisal Ibrahim asked about how the SAF is strengthening safety culture at all levels of the SAF. As Defence Minister highlighted earlier, an Inspector General's office has been set up to inspect and audit the safety practices across the SAF. This office, led by the Chief of Staff, Joint Staff, reports to the Chief of Defence Force and the Permanent Secretary of Defence to enforce safety procedures, practices, and to reinforce safety consciousness and culture from the highest level, so as to ensure that command emphasis on safety is consistently applied. On the ground, the SAF has renewed the focus of commanders on safety. Commanders have comprehensively reviewed safety management plans and the overall training tempo. They know that they must lead by example in driving safety as a topmost priority. The Army will also ensure 100% inspection of all high-risk and field training. We want, through concrete action, to reassure Singaporeans that training safety is a top priority for MINDEF and the SAF. Ultimately, safety involves this, everything that I've mentioned, but it also involves more than just sound systems and top-down measures. Safety must be a part of an organizational culture, one that every soldier at every level has a role to own, to build, and to foster. The SAF encourages open reporting. Mr. Charles Chong asked about this. What does it mean by open reporting? Open reporting means that any serviceman can, at any time, report risky behavior or near misses and safety breaches. And the servicemen know that they can do so without any fear of penalty. They can call the 24-hour safety hotlines for the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. And caller identities are kept anonymous. And there are other measures by which they can also surface the feedback. So the open reporting is about wanting to engender and to ensure that openness in the culture, that you are encouraged indeed to bring this up. On enlistment day, recruits are briefed by commanders on how they can report safety breaches. Prior to training, soldiers can identify safety risks using risk assessment checklists and raise concerns to their superiors in a small group setting. This encourages them to look out for their own and their buddies' safety. Since last year, the SAF has been developing an application called Safeguardian, which will allow SAF servicemen to use their mobile phones to report workplace hazards and to instantly share them with other servicemen. So where servicemen is in camp, they notice, for example, some sharp wire fittings that could potentially cause injury, then that serviceman can take a photo of that using the Safeguardian app and inform the relevant SAF safety officers so that immediate action can be taken to remove that hazard and to remove that risk. And the buddies nearby will also be informed via safety alerts to their mobile phones. Safeguardian can also provide access to safety checklists on the go, compared to the moment where these forms are only available in physical terminals within the camps. So this app will begin its trial in our naval bases starting from March this year, and it will be implemented in phases to the rest of the SAF as soon as possible. This effort will help enhance a safety consciousness and reinforce the point that safety is by all, for all. Ms. Cheng Li Hui asked if we could recognize fallen servicemen, including erecting a memorial. The SAF honors our servicemen and women who die in service. Every year, the SAF observes a minute of silence at the SAF Day Parade to remember our fallen soldiers in the presence of our President or the Prime Minister as the reviewing officer. Individual units or formations also hold remembrance events to honor those among the ranks who perished during operations or training. We will never forget the sacrifice to keep Singapore free from those who want to do us harm. On this note, we also want to thank all our national servicemen for their commitment and dedication. Allow me now to speak on how we will enhance the experience for our national servicemen. Mr. Zainal Sapari asked about the importance of NS to Singapore. Securing Singapore's freedom is a sacred duty shouldered by our national servicemen, and it is only right that we continually think of ways to support them. Our national servicemen have to balance personal and NS commitments, and we must strive to increase convenience for them by reducing administrative burdens wherever possible. This will help them focus on the training. We will also maximize the potential and tap into the abilities of our increasingly better educated pool of servicemen so that they can contribute even more meaningfully. Mr. Baey Yam Keng had asked for updates on our efforts. Our operationally ready national servicemen, NSmen, are required to notify the MINDEF Notification Center, MNC, and the Home Team Overseas Notification Center, or the ONC, of their overseas travel of less than 6 months duration, which can currently be done via the NS portal or by text. From 1st of March today, we will remove this notification requirement. Servicemen just have to keep their contact details, including temporary contact information, updated on the NS portal. Removing this requirement will not compromise operational readiness because other exit control measures, such as the requirement to apply for an exit permit before traveling overseas for periods of 6 months or longer, will continue to apply. Control measures could be tightened if the need arises. Mr. Pritam Singh and Mr. Chong Ki-hyong asked how we intend to maximize our manpower resource with falling cohort sizes. How can we do more with fewer? Besides better technology, equipment, process and job redesign and training of the NS men, Many NS men have also very relevant and important niche civilian expertise in fields that are relevant both to the civilian side as well as to the military. So, for example, nursing or info communications. NS men with such expertise can now contribute to defense with the civilian expertise earlier in their operationally ready NS training cycle. Previously, they had to complete the full 10-year training cycle before conversion to a role that allows them to utilize their civilian expertise. Now, if they're found suitable, they can be deployed to roles such as nursing officers and network communications officers after completing 2 high-key in-camp training stints and have served 5 ORNS years. Another example. Pre-enlistees are screened at the SAF Medical Classification Center prior to enlistment. They will then be assigned an appropriate physical employment standard or PES grade, PES, so that each person can serve the nation based on his capacity and capabilities. And this would include NSFs with disabilities. So, for instance, soldiers with hearing impairment or musculoskeletal disabilities, where found suitable, are assigned to support or administrative vocations, where they are deployed safely and are able to also contribute very meaningfully during the NS stints. We certainly also value the contributions from women to national defense. Since 2014, women have served in the SAF Volunteer Corps in areas that support the SAF's operational and training requirements. And our pool of volunteers, SAF volunteers, comprises a good mix of male and female, with about half being women. Mr. Arasu Durasamy asked about our partnerships to support skills upgrading. Full-time national servicemen from the SAF and home team dedicate 2 years to focus on full-time training. Today, certain soldiering, firefighting, and rescue competencies are accredited under the WSQ, or Singapore Workforce Skills Qualification Standard. To keep pace with national focus on skills mastery, we seek to support the NSF's transition to higher education or into the workplace. A suite of initiatives called Skills Future at NS will be launched this year with public and private sector partners. And what can our NSF therefore look forward to under these partnerships? First, more resources for skills upgrading after full-time NS. Today, NSFs are granted $350 worth of e-credits for them to subscribe to about 200 online courses. That's the cost list. And these courses are offered by our local universities and polytechnics. And these e-credits are valid up to a year after they complete the full-time NS. We will extend these credits, the use of these credits, to about 3,000 selected courses, up from the 200. And amongst these courses will be a good number of Skills Future series courses that focus on emerging domains such as data analytics and cybersecurity. We are also working with the Institutes of Higher Learning to offer customized courses. NSFs may take these courses to obtain credit exemptions from relevant diploma or degree programs after they complete the full-time NS. E-credits can also be used for these courses. So, for example, NSFs can use the e-credits to take a course on Introduction to Cloud Architecture that is offered by the Temasek Polytechnic. Upon admission to the Temasek Polytechnic's part-time specialist diploma in Cloud Data Center Technology and Management, participants who complete these online courses will be granted partial exemption from one module. This will go some way towards supporting our NSF's learning journey. Second, career discovery and exposure. This month, MINDEF SAF will co-deliver a career orientation experience with Skills Future Singapore. This initiative is supported by our 5 community development councils and the NTUC Employment and Employability Institute, E2I. Skills Future advice workshops will be customized at the quarterly career and education fair held for the NSFs. And we conducted a pilot of this career orientation workshop at Jurong Camp. And one of our combat engineers, 21-year-old Corporal Ratish Kumar, said that the workshop helped him understand the various pathways available after he completes his full-time NS. And he felt that this gave him and his buddies more useful guidance about the next stage in life. We will take in our servicemen's feedback and suggestions to refine and improve the skills future at NS effort in the years ahead. Next, strengthening support for NS. Mr. Henry Kwek asked about our plans to engage the community on NS issues. First, I want to express our thanks to Accord members for their valuable contributions toward the mission, working with educational institutions, businesses, and community groups to strengthen community and total support for our defense and national service. One of the highlights through the good work of the Accord in 2018 was the inaugural Women's Boot Camp. 103 women out of 1,000 were selected for the camp. So 1,000 applied for 100 places. So in the end, 103 were accommodated for this two-day, one night. So it's an overnight camp, 2-day, 1-night camp. And that camp gave the women participants, whom I understand have age that range from 13 to 64. So it's a wide range. And therefore, in there are daughters, mothers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, friends of servicemen. And what they got was a glimpse of military life. They came out seeing NS as tough but necessary. And one of them is 50-year-old Miss Ko Wee Min, and she's the mother of one of our NSFs. When asked about her experience, Ms. Ko said that it gave her a taste of some aspects of military life through participation in iconic NS activities such as clearing the standard obstacle course. So she said, and I quote, "I can now support my son emotionally and psychologically. It will also allay some concerns I have about training safety, as I could see that safety is paramount to the training. It is reassuring to know that servicemen will get progressive training before they tackle more challenging tasks." This year, we will run another camp so as to continue to engage our community and also this very important constituency, namely the other half of our population, the women, so that together we can strengthen this support for NS and for the defense of our country. Our servicemen have told us that sharing photographs of the NS experiences in camp would also help them build a stronger sense of community. And MINDEF SAF has been exploring ways to allow servicemen to share their personal NS memories and experiences online while safeguarding security of sensitive information. And we are now working on a digital repository called NS Memories that will give NS men access to official photographs of themselves and their buddies. Over time, the repository will catalog the experiences throughout the NS journey, and it will allow servicemen to share these photographs on their social media. We will conduct a trial with an active infantry unit for NS Memories this year, and if proven successful, we will expand the initiative. Mr. Chairman, the success of NS is measured by the peace safeguarded and maintained day in, day out, year after year. Every day of peace that Singapore enjoys is testament to the effectiveness of our deterrence, diplomacy, and defense. With a strong and resilient NS system that enjoys wide and deep public support, we can continue to be confident about Singapore's future. Thank you.